but how good did it feel to play Blues Fest last summer in front of a hometown crowd?
Oh, first off, hi Joel. How you doing? Um, yeah, Blues Fest was cool. We didn't do the Cooper Brothers thing. We more or less did that Southern rock tribute thing that we do once in a while. We hadn't played Blues Fest in about, I don't know, 10 years or something. So it was cool to be back. And that the Southern rock tribute thing is just so much fun for us. It's just I don't know, for some reason it just takes all the pressure off. We do Skinner and we do Allman Brothers and Marshall Tucker and the Outlaws and all that stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And we had a couple of guests. We had Graham Greer from Barstool Prophets. He got up with us, and somebody Ricky Paquette, who right after that, he got into the Sheepdogs, man. It was so funny. It was like 2 weeks later. So it was kind of cool. That was good news. We were all happy for him.
So I recently moved from Toronto back to my hometown of Ottawa about 2 years ago, just during the pandemic, to be closer to family. And at that Blues Fest, I was there every single day, and I was able to make it out. You guys were in a nice big tent. You had a great crowd there for you. And you mentioned that the last time you played Blues Fest was about 10 years before that. Was that the massive James Taylor show where there was like 25,000 people? What was that like?
Well, more than that. We were on the big stage and you couldn't see the lawn. It was just like there was like 30,000 people. Yeah. And I mean, I've always been a huge James Taylor fan, and sometimes you can play with these guys and they turn out to be not so nice. I mean, he was just a sweetheart. He was, my brother's into vintage cars. So he pulls up backstage and James Taylor comes out of his trailer. He goes, "Whose car is this, man?" I go, "Oh, it's my brother's." He goes, "Oh, you guys are the opening act. Oh, great." And he was like our pal for the rest of the day. He hung out for our sound check, and yeah, just a lovely, lovely guy.
That's amazing. I caught James Taylor in Toronto, so I'm a big James Taylor fan, and he was awesome. His songs are great performer. And one thing that really stood out, he has a sense of humor, obviously. And at one point, the crowd, someone just kept yelling after every song. They wanted a specific song for him to play. So at one point, he addresses it. So he stops the band. He goes, "Sir, okay, I'm going to check if your song is coming up on the set list." And he reaches down and he picks up a massive billboard size, like it was an inside joke, I guess. So he had a massive billboard this big, and you see him look down the list and he goes, "Oh, yeah, your song's coming up, so you can stop shouting for it." And everyone laughs. So it was like a great moment that sticks with you.
It would take him a while to get through his hits,
Yeah.
So many.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you have to do differently when you play to a crowd that's 25,000, 40,000 people than if you were playing in a small venue? Do you have to change the way you talk to the crowd, or your movements, or the order of the songs in your set list?
No, not really. When I was teaching songwriting, and I'd play something for the kids in the class or try to demonstrate some principle or whatever it was, I would be more nervous there in front of like 20 kids, 25 kids than I would be in front of 25,000. I don't know what that is. And I would have people in my class like Kelly Lee Evans come into my class, or J.W. Jones would come into my class, and they'd say the same thing. They go, "Isn't it odd how you would get more nervous?" Because I think it's because they're right there. They're like 2 feet away from you, as opposed to we did one gig in front of like 60,000 people, and it was kind of surreal. It was like you were looking at this painting, It's like you didn't register as people, So yeah, we never changed the set or anything like that,
That's exactly what I was going to ask, is if the crowd is so big that it seems like just one entity instead of that many people. And you're I could play to one entity. No
That's
problem.
exactly it. It's almost like you're not even nervous.